Good morning, good morning, good morning, and happy Wednesday. People come on in, start sharing, start commenting. I am riding solo today while Sonya takes care of some personal business after she's been holding it down for the fort while I was out on paternity leave. Let me crank this up. All right, we got 7 people. Come on in. We got a lot to talk about today. Some of the things we're going to talk about, and I would just love all your support. As it's just me today, but we'll talk about literacy reimagined with Metro Schools. We'll talk about the new virtual school that they're looking at doing for the 2021-2022 school year. We'll talk about summer school. There's going to be 7 weeks just summer. We'll talk about standing in solidarity with some of the hate that's been going on. We'll talk about the Daniel Chauvin case up there, the police officer who murdered George Floyd. We'll talk about our recap from the month of March. We've had so much going on in the month of March, so much to be thankful for, and we'll get this on. But let me know how you're doing. Go ahead and check in. We'll keep this thing going. Thank you, Morgan. I got my coffee right here. Great days, hard nights. I fell asleep last night. But yeah, it has been a journey. I see Miss Groves on here. All right. How you doing, Miss Hope? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so let's get right into it. Just as we think about school, as we think about August, as we think about the world, the country, definitely Nashville starting to open back up. I looked at a video last week of Broadway. I was like, yeah, the floodgates of Nashville are wide open. How you doing, Lita? How you doing, Miss Kimberly Smith? But tell me, like, what are some of the things you guys are thinking about as we look into August? Tomorrow it'll be April 1st, and that's not an April Fool's, yo. Like, we are already close to halfway. We're a quarter through the year. And as we think about April, August will be here before we know it. And what are some of you guys thinking about as we try to reflect on the focus for Propel? What are you guys thinking about when it comes back to August? And I'll pull up an article shortly, but what it's going to discuss is by the time August starts, you still have a virtual school option, but it's not going to be virtual school where, let's say you're signed up at Warner and you get a chance to either be Warner virtual or Warner in person. You would be specifically in the MNPS virtual school. So I just want to get feedback from parents. How are you guys making decisions or even thinking about decisions as you think about back to school for the new year? And I'll pull it up and wait for some of you guys to comment. And so as I pull this article up, these are, the vaccine is being distributed. I see a lot of people saying, I got 1 shot or I got 2 shots. People are still getting COVID. My wife's friend just recently got it, so it's still out there. But this is going to be an interesting thing to see what parents select to do. Are we going back? Are you going to summer school? And I see Ms. Holtz saying she's ready to get this tutoring program off the ground. Yeah, be interested to see what you got going on there, Ms. Holt. So this summer, there's going to be this huge literacy and learning loss opportunity. And I don't know if you guys have signed up. If you have signed up, let me know. I checked on the page today, and they were putting it out to the teachers to say, teachers, we need you this summer. I think it's going to be a 6 to 7 week program. I think it's a stipend. If you do the whole thing, it's anywhere between $3,000 to $7,000. But as parents, is this something that you're even thinking about this summer to help recover kids academically from learning loss? Or have you even heard about it? One parent had told me she hadn't even heard about the program, and she was glad we were putting it out. But for parents, have you heard about this summer school program? Are you looking to sign your kids up? What questions do you have about it? And maybe we can get someone on here to talk about it as well. All righty, let me pull up this article, this Tennessean article. Okay, Chrome tab. Okay, and as I'm trying to find it, I see not getting the vaccine. I get it. Miss Crump, we miss you. Miss Crump says she hasn't heard about it yet. And let me try to find that on the Tennessean. And I'll put the article in the comments, or if somebody has it, to put it in the comments. But I just want to take a few minutes just to read through it. One, to give people an opportunity to understand, like, the understand the opportunity, but two, like, sharing it out so we can be widely shared and parents understand that we may have an option. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up the virtual school article first. Share screen tab. Okay, it thanks me for being a loyal customer. Okay, all righty. And as you guys see it, it says, how Nashville Public School students can learn remotely next year. And it's a pretty loaded article, and we're just going to take a little bit of time to go through. And then again, like, I'd love to get you guys feedback on it. Where did it go? Nope. Okay, here we go. And so it just says Metro Nashville Schools is looking to enhance the virtual school options. The district anticipates a return to a more traditional school year. District officials anticipate increased interest in the virtual school, which is a fully remote option that existed prior to the pandemic. And it says families can choose to remain virtual, but they'll have to enroll in the virtual school rather than participate in their current school just remotely, as it has been done this school year. And so the district is going to, again, pump 2 million, increase the ag grades 4 and 5, and to make sure this virtual platform is up and ready to go. And then just a quote, it says, any family who wants to attend virtual school will go through the MNPS virtual school. Bellamy said, virtual education is not for every kid to opt into on a yearly basis, but we have some kids successfully doing it every year. Cool. So as you guys see this, what are some of your responses to, are you thinking about enrolling your kid to stay virtual? Do you want them to go back in person? Not just August, but do you want them to go back because the summer school option is also going to be in person? Let's see what we got. All right, Miss Smith says, I'm going to sign my son up. I was going to get him a tutor anyway because he has really struggled this year. Thank you for that, Miss Smith. My son has struggled as well. And then we got Lita that says this is the first she's heard of this. And yeah, so this is a plan. So even back in February, I don't know if you guys remember, but the state legislature designated, I want to say it was over $100 million for learning loss. And it gave the cities, the school districts, an opportunity to create these programs. And so we're in the process. But the biggest thing, and I agree, we haven't heard much about it. I think they're still getting it out, but it's going to have the ability for kids to go to school and go in person for the summer tutoring. Let me see if I can find something on the MNPS site. Let's see. Sasha says she's doing homeschooling. Miss Sherry Lucas, man, Miss Sherry Lucas, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But she says virtual works for some, but I think it works poorly for more than it does well. And thank you for that, Miss Lucas Hall. I'll tell you, if you guys missed our Monday speaker series to end, Read Me Month, you missed a treat. Miss Sherry Lucas, who's on here now, was just really breaking it down in a way that us as parents can understand when we talk about the science of reading. We had a lot of our fellowship alums, our current fellowship members come on. And so Sherry, just thank you for that. I don't know if you saw the insights and the analytics, but it was shared close to 100 times. We had over 75 comments, and they were really good comments around parents really trying to understand, like, but what do I do next? Like, okay, so if there is a science to reading, one I didn't know, and parents were just asking what they could do next. And so thank you, Sherry, for just taking that time to break it down for us during the speaker series this Monday. And again, if you guys missed it, Go on our Facebook page, and on the Monday on the 29th, you'll get a chance to get a recap of it. So this is the first time people have heard of it. This is what I'm seeing, but what I'm asking, and some of you guys have already responded. I'm trying to get a poll of what are you thinking? Are you looking to send your kid during the summer? Are you looking to send your kid during the fall? I know Miss Smith says she was already looking at a tutor because her kid has struggled. I feel the same way. Alicia Crump says she'll have to go back and watch it. Definitely check it out, and I'll send you the link. Because again, it just warmed our soul just to get that information in layman's terms, and just with the questions in this online resources really helped us understand just one, like where we are and where we need to go. So the second thing that I'm gonna pull up, if I can get it to click on and stay on the screen, but the program that we're doing in Metro, just to give you guys an update, is called Promising Scholars. And it's gonna be our summer learning experience. It's no cost for the summer camp. It's gonna start June 7th. And it's gonna be at nearly 70 school sites. So I think in Metro, we got close to 140 schools, 120. So it'll be a little bit under half. They'll be able to have breakfast, lunch, transportation to be provided. So nothing, it's really like an extended school year. And it's going to be a mix of the classroom learning. They're going to talk about science, technology, art activities. They'll have the opportunity to do PE, physical activity, and other learning experiences. But it's going to be for rising kindergartners through the 8th grade for the half day. Well, it's a full day for kindergarten to 8th grade, and then it's going to be a half day for rising 9th graders to the 12th grade. And I'll pull that up a little bit for you guys, just so you can check that out. Let's see. Share screen. And I'll play a little bit of this video just so we can hear from Dr. Battle about it. And let me know if you can hear the sound.
Hi, this is Dr. Adrienne Battle, and I'm excited to share with you our plans for the Promising Scholars Summer Learning Experience that will give your students a chance to continue engaging with teachers and their peers throughout the month of June. The COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted so much of our normal way of life, and many of our students have been learning virtually for much or all of the year. We want to give those students who may have seen their academic progress slow down, or who just want the chance to have more face-to-face learning time, the opportunity to do so this summer. Our Promising Scholars program will be no cost to families and will provide a full day of learning opportunities to students who will be entering 1st through 8th grade in August 2021, who choose to participate, and a half day for students entering grades 9 through 12. Each day will include free breakfast and lunch, as well as transportation. Many locations will also have the option of before and after care. We'll have smaller group sizes of no more than 13 students to every one teacher in grades 1 through 8. And students will have the opportunity to expand their reading and math skills, engage in science, technology, and arts activities, have time for physical activities, and receive personalized intervention support when needed. Our high school students will have access to credit recovery students for the upcoming 2021-22 school year, but we hope it will be a fun and enjoyable experience for teachers, parents, and students alike. Registration will open on March 22nd, and we'll be using the same optional schools platform that we use for the school choice and kindergarten registration process. Due to state law, we have to ensure that students who are identified as needing the most intervention have first priority for open seats. But we are pretty confident we'll have enough openings so that every student who wants to attend will be able to do so. So be on the lookout for sign-up information and visit summer.mmps.org for more details.
All right, feel like I just played a commercial. But as you guys heard that, and I think she broke it down well. It opened up on March 22nd. I think it's going to shut down sometime in April or May. But what are you guys thinking as you heard it? I see Sherry says she'll love to come to Tennessee to participate as an educator. We'll definitely love to have you. But what the sense that I'm getting from just the comments, I'm getting that, as parents, we still want to be safe. I'm in the same bucket, but also as parents, we want to make sure our kids are getting that social interaction, but also struggling academically. We got TN Ready that's coming up pretty soon, and although they're not going to be judged by the results, but it's going to give us an opportunity to see where our kids really are, and give us the ability to make some plans to catch them up if there has been learning loss. But I know in my household, again, just speaking for myself, there's definitely been learning loss with my son. It's just he's really regressed, not just math, but reading as well. See, Ms. Crump said, I think it's a good idea for children who are failing behind since virtual school has started. Yeah, it is interesting. And Miss Prather says she's really torn with keeping them home, and she prefers that since she can't be sure that other parents won't send their kids to school sick. Didn't even think about that, but he needs to go back for school for the social aspect as well as being able to grasp concepts better. We're looking into tutoring this summer. And I'll say with my son, we usually do a program at Fist that he's loved. And initially I was like, well, we just gonna, that program costs, a good amount of money, but this program is free. But we also looked at, he has friends at the program. So even when we do think about the social aspect, that's been a program he's been in since he's been in elementary, maybe second or third grade. And it's just, yeah, I think we're all torn. And a lot of us haven't made the decisions yet, even though I need to be making it, but it has been a rough journey. And so just be on the lookout for that. We'll talk about this summer program more, again, as we realize a lot of parents don't know about it. And so we'll put the link on our page. We'll share it out on our email blast to get you guys caught up. One thing that I like to jump to is just our recap from March. March has just been such a strong month for us. We hired 2 new organizers in Thomas Driver and Clifton Maya. We have had our speaker series with Miss Angela Lucas. We started our cohort 8 fellowship with the most we've had in the last 2 years since we started COVID. It's close to 25 parents. And then we also had our national parent summit, Get Your Priorities Straight. And I see Miss Holt on here. Miss Holt was a big part of that in leadership. Victoria, Rhea, we had some old fellowship members jumping in, asking really good questions. But we had 2 speakers. One was Lagra Newman that's here in Nashville, featured on BT's Disrupt and Dismantle. She really brought it home for us. But another speaker we had was I always butcher her name, but Dr. Sonia Santelises. And Dr. S is what people call her. She is the superintendent in Baltimore Public Schools, but she was on the short list to be the education secretary under Joe Biden. So it was really a pleasure to have her come and talk to our parents about work that she's done in the past, work that she's doing in Baltimore. And again, we had close to 100 people who were signed in and on, not even including the panelists. And so it was a really successful event. And so this is the last day of March. And I just want to tell you guys, appreciate all the support that has been given. It definitely has been noticed. It's been noticed with how we advocate on behalf of parents. It's been noticed with people across the country. We had people check in from Oakland, San Antonio, St. Louis, Memphis, New Jersey. And so just looking back, the movement is growing, but it's only growing because each of you guys are really supporting it. How you doing, Miss Baker? We got a follow up. She says definitely a good idea. Like everybody else, she's still debating it though with her children. Because this is something we just haven't had to experience. And again, it's the safety of it too. Somebody said, she knows her kids are good, but what about parents who may send their kids to school sick, whether they know or don't know? But just want to get any highlights. Like if you came to the third annual Get Your Priorities Straight, like let us know what you thought. What are some of the things that we need to do in the near future when we talk about Get Your Priorities Straight? What are some of the priorities for you guys that you think we need to be working on as a district, but also as a parent community? And then I'm gonna just pull up Ms. Lucas. She believes it's in the instruction. The delivery of virtual structure needs to be more directed and interactive for students, especially younger students. Less videos and more ways of having students actively involved in work. And Ms. Baker agrees. It's mainly teaching that students never get an opportunity to answer any questions because of the time frame. And it has just been a struggle. Yeah. I will say some virtual programs I've seen in the district, like the teachers are rocking it out. And some teachers, we've seen it's really like watching paint dry. And it's pretty sad that it's no interaction. And so the biggest thing that we would wish, how do we get a program, how we teach our teachers instruction on how to do it on a high level, where they're able to interact with our students, where they're able to, if students are struggling, really help them bounce back, whether it's during the class or they spend some free time after class. And then we got Ms. Locker checking in, cohort 3. She says she thinks it's a great option for the summer. The long-term concern is that there will be additional interventions throughout the coming year to continue to help with learning loss, as well as a resource for long-term success. And so coming up in April, and this is one thing that we want to do. Thank you for that, Ms. Locker. After we take the TN Ready, we're going to be leaning on parents from Propel and many parents across the district to let us know how their students are doing. And again, I'll tell you straight up, my son in math made a 41, the lowest grade he ever received. And so, of course, like sending them back to school was on the option table because, we got to find some way to catch up. But what we really need help from as we finish the TN Ready is parents being able to share where your students are academically, so we can have the evidence as well. We know the schools will have it, but as a parent group, we want to see where our community is. And so as we think about personalized learning plans, as we think about continuing to advocate for our students, we know exactly where we are. And so that's just going to be a big help. One of the things that we wanted to look at, and it's been painful, but the trial for Daniel Chauvin, the officer that was accused of killing George Floyd, that's put our country back at a turning point, as we sit in our households and look at like, how is the trial going to go? In our minds, we look at it'll happen the same way it always happens, with people not being convicted, when we clearly saw, in my opinion, that it was a murder. But one of the guys that we're looking to have on the show, his name is Sean. He had this big movement walk with Sean, because living in the 12 South area, if you drive through 12 South now, if you're a native of Nashville, it looks totally different than how it looked back when we were growing up. I tell people 12th Avenue South got the mosque, and back in the day, the mosque was in communities that didn't look like it looks right now. And so he got on Facebook one night and said he didn't feel comfortable in his new neighborhood. And people started responding, and they did this whole Walk with Sean movement that got national news. He's going to be on the show next week, just giving a brief update of things he wants to do. How do we continue this movement, especially as we get closer to the end of the trial for Daniel Chauvin, who was the officer accused of killing George Floyd? And so just be on the lookout for that. All right, let's see. So we're talking a lot about tutors, right? Like, what are some resources that you guys know? Because I've seen tutors pop up at least 6 or 7 times just on Access Denied today. And so as we think about resources, one is going to be at 70 schools, the summer training and the summer learning program. I'm going to send that link out. I'm going to put it on our Facebook page after we finish the show today. But please start to share that out, because we want to get this information into the hands of many. They're going to be doing transportation. They're going to be feeding the kids breakfast, lunch. They're going to be doing PE. And so I think for the parents who need it, myself included, I think it's going to be an awesome opportunity. What I fear is not enough parents know, not enough parents sign up, and we don't utilize a resource where the state has dumped literally over $100 million into learning loss to make sure our students are catching up. And so I want to make sure we utilize that. Tasha Baker says, I haven't even watched it and didn't even want to give it my energy. It's definitely tough to watch. I ain't watched it either, Tasha. I ain't watched it either. But I know at one point, win, lose, or draw on the trial, it's going to be national news. And even without watching the trial, I'm going to hear about the results. And I just pray that justice is served. And so we'll be on the lookout for that. And also, while we're in we stand in solidarity with our Asian brothers and sisters. You know, we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week, but the crimes that happened in Georgia at the massage parlors, we want to make sure we stand in solidarity. Like they need the support, because at the end of the day, if it's not the Asian community, it's the African American community. If it's not the African American community, it's the Latino community. If it's not the Latino community, it's the poor white community. And so we want to make sure that we stand up when we see injustice. And so it's, we're going to end this a little early today. I'm riding solo, so I don't have my colleague on behalf to engage. But the biggest things are just literacy, guys. One of the big things that we've been talking about in the fellowship is when we look at third grade literacy in some of our school districts, it's literally between 15 to 17%. And so when they're assessed again in the 8th grade, you would think that we see the issue in the 3rd grade and we make the problem go away by really focusing on literacy. But by the time they get to the 8th grade, it's actually gotten worse. And so we want to make sure that we're looking and that we're thinking about literacy and focusing on that. Again, we'll be putting links up on the page. We'll put the the school link so you guys can sign up, share it out to your friends. Again, I wanted to welcome Thomas Driver and Clifton Maya. Give them a big shout out. They're coming in to help us organize, because Torvis and Tierra have been carrying a heavy load for the last 3 to 4 months. And we just want to go into April 1st, ready. We're ready for TN, ready to see where our kids are, ready to make sure they're being assessed and getting the real support to combat this learning loss. But other than that, guys, I'm going to take it in early. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And I will see you guys. Some of you guys, I'll see you. I see some fellowship people. I'll see you tomorrow night. But the rest of you guys, I'll see you next Wednesday. You guys have a great day.